Hello footy fans, welcome to Bev's Footy Show for after round 14. Let's get straight into having a look at the episode agenda for this week's episode. I'm going to start off the show by having a look at the round 14 results. How good was round 14? We'll have a look at those results very, very shortly. A look at the ladder after round 14, as well as looking at who leads the stats in the stats wrap-up after round 14. Then going to get on to the 5 talking points of the week. Some big headlines making stories in the AFL at the moment. So going to have a look at the 5 talking points of this week and give my views on the talking points, and then round 15 matches and tips at the back end of the episode to come. It's going to be another great round in round 15, so looking forward to that. But let's get straight into having a look at the round 14 results. Well, it's fair to say round 14 was absolutely incredible. 4 games were decided by less than a goal, and well, this was the first round after the 3 bye rounds we just shortly had. So let's have a look at the results from what was a magical round 14. I start with the Thursday night match, which was held at the Adelaide Oval. The Adelaide Crows lost this game. Hawthorn upset them, the final score being the Adelaide Crows 12-10-82, defeated by Hawthorn 14-12-96 in front of 45,312 there at the incredible Adelaide Oval. So the round started with an upset. Friday night was an absolute thriller. It was between the Sydney Swans and Essendon. There was a few league changes. Essendon actually had the lead by less than 2 goals with about a minute and a half to go, but the Sydney Swans came back a kick after the siren thanks to a Gary Rowan one-handed chest mark led the Sydney Swans to a 1-point victory against Essendon, the final score being 11-20-86. Defeated Essendon 12-13-85 in front of 34,575 people at the SCG. Saturday Arvo, well, not a great performance by Collingwood. They were beaten by Port Adelaide. The final score, Collingwood 9-8-62, defeated by Port Adelaide 13-15-93 in front of nearly 36,000 at the MCG. The Saturday twilight game, the Brisbane Lions heavily beat by the GWS Giants, but didn't go down without a fight, but the Giants just far too strong, as you'd expect at the Gabba. The final score being the Brisbane Lions 12-14-86, defeated by the GWS Giants 22-14-146. The 2 Saturday night games were incredible, and these 2 games were decided by less than a kick. How incredible, how good was Saturday night? Absolutely fantastic. The first game was at Etihad Stadium, the Western Bulldogs and North Melbourne. Western Bulldogs led this game for a majority of the match, but North Melbourne came back in the 4th quarter and scores were level at 1 point, and then Stringer kicked the winning behind with about a minute on the clock to go, and the Western Bulldogs were able to win by a point, 15-17-107, defeated North Melbourne 16-10-106 in front of just over 28,000 at Etihad Stadium. The game at Domain Stadium was absolutely incredible. Melbourne were able to kick a goal to put themselves in front with not much time remaining. There was a few league changes. The lead did change throughout the entire match, and it was a fantastic close game, but Melbourne ran away with the points. In fact, this was the first win for Melbourne in Western Australia since round 11 2004, ending a 7-game losing streak. So incredible year they are having so far, the D's. The West Coast Eagles 14-12-96, defeated by Melbourne 15-9-99. The Sunday Arvo game was incredible. It went right down to the wire after Fremantle led the majority of the game. Geelong got back in the 4th quarter, able to win by 2 points, but Walters could have kicked the winning goal with about 2 seconds remaining, but he missed, and unfortunately the siren went just shortly after he missed. In fact, just right after he missed. The final score, Geelong 10-14-74, defeated Fremantle 11-6-72 at Simmons Stadium. The Sunday Arvo game, Richmond won quite convincingly in the end, 11-18-84, defeated Carlton 8-10-58 at the MCG. And the Gold Coast Suns and St Kilda game that Eddie had on the Sunday twilight was actually a pretty good game, but the second half was where St Kilda produced its best and won the game pretty convincingly. The final score being St Kilda 14-20, 104, defeated the Gold Coast Suns 10-12-72 in front of a very low crowd of just under 17,000. They're not very good from a St Kilda point of view, St Kilda club point of view, because that's a very low attendance number. So there you have it. That is the round 14 results. Incredible round of footy. Cannot wait for round 15. But let's have a look now at how that's affected the positions on the ladder. So let's get on to having a look at the AFL ladder after round 14. What was an incredible round of footy. I've said it quite a few times now during this episode, but it just was an amazing round of footy. Probably haven't seen anything like that for some time. But the GWS Giants, they lead on top of the table there with 10 wins and 3 losses on 40 points. We then have 4 points behind them is the Adelaide Crows and Geelong. Port Adelaide are 4th, Melbourne are 5th, Richmond are 6th, the West Coast Eagles 7th, St Kilda 8th, the Western Bulldogs just outside the top 8 there on percentage on 9th place. The Sydney Swans are coming fast on 10th place, although they are only 4 points out of the top 8. So a crucial game coming up for them this weekend in round 15. Essendon have fallen to 11th, so they were in the top 8 after round 13 and just before round 14. But because of that loss to the Swans, they have moved outside the top 8. Fremantle are 12th. They were in the top 8 a few weeks ago, about a month ago or something. But of course, they haven't had the best month with 4 losses in a row. They've St Kilda in round 15. Collingwood 13th. Of course, they're not really having the best of runs this season. Very inconsistent. Talk about them in a few moments' time. The Gold Coast Suns 14th. 15th is Carlton, who are having a good season in terms of rebuilding. Hawthorn 16th. North Melbourne 17th. And then the Brisbane Lions with just the 2 wins sit on 18th. So that is the AFL ladder after round 14. Time now for the stats wrap-up after round 14. Let's have a look at who's leading what in terms of the disposals, goals, marks and tackles. We'll start with the leading disposal getters, and Tom Mitchell leads on 461 disposals. Zach Merritt second with 421 disposals. Third is Matt Crouch with 418. Fourth is Rory Lade with 409. And then 5th is Andrew Gaff with 399 disposals. The Coleman medal race is well and truly on. Jeremy Cameron leads the way, 3 goals clear of Lance Franklin. Jeremy's on 39 goals, Lance Franklin on 36, Eddie Betts on 35. Joe Danaher is 4th with 35 as well, and then Robbie Gray is 5th with 34 goals. Sam Doherty leads the marks, 127 marks he's taken in 2017. Jeremy Howe, no surprise, he is in the top 5 of the leading marks. He is second with 113. Elliot Yeo third with 103. Fourth is Jeremy Cameron with 100, and fifth is Jeremy McGovern, another Jeremy, but from another club, of course. He has 100 marks also. And then the tackles, Rory Sloan leads the tackles on 108. Second is Brad Ebert on 103. Third is Jack Viney on 101 tackles. Fourth is Matt Prittis on 97 tackles. And then fifth is Dane Zorko on 96 tackles. So that is the stats wrap-up after round 14. Time now for the 5 talking points of the week. I've basically picked 5 talking points to discuss and give my thoughts and opinions on this show of the particular talking points. So let's get into the first one. It's to do with the shot clock. Do we need it? Is it working? Is it not working? Look, I personally believe the game wouldn't have a problem without it. In fact, I don't really think we actually need it. I think it's a good innovation and a good kind of idea, but I don't really think we actually need it. I actually believe and trust that the umpires actually have control when it comes to set shots. like they have the ability to be able to count in their head, the 30 seconds. It is helpful being up on the screen to the fact that you don't have to count it in your head, but the umpires really should be counting it in their heads and giving obviously a 15-second left to 5-second left warning before they actually call play on. Now, the Higgins situation was a little bit of a different kind of one because it's really to do with who actually had control. The umpire from far, it seemed like he had control when the umpire close actually didn't, and that's why the umpire from afar actually waved play on. But do we actually need the shot clock? I don't think so. I think if we are going to have it, why don't you just have it on the screen for the whole entire quarter, the whole entire game? I think it's a bit of rubbish, to be honest, to have it off for the last 2 minutes of a quarter or for a game, because any player can time waste even without the shot clock, to be honest. They can look up at the count up timer and try and count 30 seconds, or they can count 30 seconds in their head. I know it's in the heat of the moment, it's probably not as easy, and it's probably more easy to say than do, but that's my philosophy. I think that the time wasting kind of discussion about the shot clock is I think a little bit of an over-exaggeration. So do we need the shot clock? I don't think we do. It's a good initiative, but I think the game can do without it. It's like, I think it was Jack Rewald, I think on AFL 360 or someone like that, said it's good fan engagement, but we probably don't really need it, to be honest. It's probably not working as good as what we probably thought it would. Next talking point is Collingwood's chances of making finals, basically making the top 8 and then playing finals in 2017. They're 8 points out of the 8, and that's 2 games out of the 8. And they haven't been playing consistent footy in 2017. Like, they do play very, very good footy when they're at their best. That is probably capable of making finals, to be honest, but they are playing consistently, and they probably aren't beating the top teams above them. So look, this season is so close, and their final chances are probably still alive, to be honest. They're only 2 games. That's probably not much, to be honest, although it's probably easy to say than actually do. But they need to win most of their games from here, and in fact I think they probably won't even win this weekend. In fact, I think with the position they're in at the moment and the inconsistent playing that they are playing, if that makes sense, is making me to believe that they probably won't make finals in 2017. They don't move the ball as fast, do they? Like the game against Port Adelaide, they just, they probably had several options to kick to, and they probably went for the hardest one and just took so much time to actually kick the ball. They just didn't move it as fast. And look, they do have a good side, in my opinion. They have a good midfield, but they need some additions to actually make the team a lot better. So look, if Buckley is no doubt aiming for finals this year, but if they don't make finals, I do hope Buckley sticks around, because I think he is working on a good building side at the moment, who has been building for some time, and I think with some additions they might just be up there for next season if Buckley does stay around. But I don't think Collingwood can make the finals from here. I think it's going to be hard. The third talking point is roaming Brian. Is it good for the game? Is it not? Should Channel 7 keep it? Should they abandon it? Personally, in my view, I love it. I think it's great viewing. I think it gives fans access like no other person has been able to do in history, to be honest. I think the ability for him to be able to go around the change rooms and ask them, questions and so forth, and not have that kind of serious aspect about it is quite entertaining and quite good. BT, Brian Taylor, we know he is... he's very entertaining himself. He's a very entertaining commentator. I believe he's one of the best commentators out there. I enjoy his commentary and I enjoy his style of presenting and his style he's got with roaming Brian. I thought it was a bit appalling, to be honest, that the Sydney Swans didn't let him into their rooms on Friday night, considering how good the win was and how... by letting him in on Friday night, it would have not only give their sponsors a run, but also give the fans a bit of a viewing on what the emotion is like after a real, adrenaline, high-intensity game like that. It was really high intensity, that game, wasn't it? Especially at the end when the goal was kicked after the siren. But you know what? That's the Swans' choice, and I guess what we do have to realise is that clubs actually don't have to let Brian Taylor in if they don't want to, although I believe... I believe clubs should really embrace, roaming Brian, because it does give their clubs, exposure, and it gives fans, a bit of a look at what goes on as well. So I think it's great for the game. That's just my opinion. I know other people have different opinions, and that's their opinion. But this is my opinion, that I think it's great. I love it, and I do hope whoever wins this Friday night, they actually let Brian in to do his thing, because it would be appalling if we had no roaming Brian for the second week in a row. Next talking point is the Western Bulldogs free kick count. It was revealed on Monday night by Damien Barrett on Footy Classified that the other AFL clubs are basically questioning why the Western Bulldogs are getting so many free kicks. They are second at the moment for total free kicks with 263. That's three below. The Brisbane Lions, North Melbourne not far away from them, and then the Adelaide Crows round out the top four there of free kicks. Free kicks 4 in total. But I think it's utter rubbish, to be honest. I think for Damien Barrett and for anyone to accuse the umpires of looking after one team is very insulting and not good enough. And look, the free kick count doesn't have to be even, and maybe the Western Bulldogs are just harder at it. In fact, they're not first on the free kicks for. The Brisbane Lions are, but maybe they're harder at the footy. Maybe the actual free kicks that they get, they actually deserve. We shouldn't be looking at the free kick count, to be honest. And in fact, if you go back to Saturday night's game against North Melbourne and moan and harm and say that they lost the game because free kicks or whatever, actually go and have a look at the other stats. The Western Bulldogs won disposals, they won contested possessions, they won some other areas. I think they won tackles. They won some other areas, some of the crucial areas. The marks, they won the marks. You have to go to have a look at other areas before actually criticising the umpires and criticising because a team has a larger free kick count than another team. It's utter rubbish, and it's a pointless discussion. It's a pretty insulting thing to say, and if clubs are questioning why a certain team gets more free kicks over the other, then I think it's just stupid. So no, look. What else can I say to that? Western Bulldogs free kick count, it's just a free kick count. It doesn't really tell the story of why they won a game or so forth. The final talking point is Melbourne's premiership chances. Well, they are flying at the moment. It's fair to say that they have put themselves in a position where they're actually being considered for the premiership. And, with the Western Bulldogs doing what they did last year, there's no question... there's no reason actually why Melbourne cannot do the same this season. Let's just go through a bit of a comparison to last season to this season. So last season, after round 14, they were sitting in 10th place. They had 6 wins, 7 losses, and lost 3 of their last 5 games. Now, turn the clock to this year, and they are sitting in 5th after round 14 with 8 wins, 5 losses, and they've won their last 4 matches. And they have a relatively okay draw home. They have the Sydney Swans on Friday night, which is going to be a bit of an interesting game. It's fair to say that if they can get over the line in that one, then it's going to really help them. Carlton at the MCG after that. The Adelaide Crows at TIO, which will be a bit of a danger game. But then again, they have beaten the Crows this year already. Then they have Port Adelaide at home, North Melbourne away at Blundstone Arena, GWS away from home, and then their last 3 are at the MCG: St Kilda, Brisbane Lions, and then Collingwood, and I think they've versed St Kilda and Collingwood already this year, and they've beaten them both times. So I think it's nearly almost a certainty that they'll make top 8 if they keep going the way they're going and don't slip up or anything like that. And it could even be a possibility that they actually cement themselves in the top 4, which would be absolutely stunning. So they're in good nick at the moment, and you have to consider them as premiership chances. I think they have the ability to go all the way to that last day in September and win the ultimate prize. And how big would that be for D's fans? The only problem with making the finals for them, though, is that they probably don't have the final experience to actually make it all the way. But then again, the Dogs really didn't have that much final experience either, and they went all the way last year. I think a lot of them just had that one final experience in 2015. So the D's, they are going to be hot property in the final series. I reckon it's probably going to be a good chance they'll be there on the last day of September, probably even prelims. Okay, time now to have a look at the round 15 matches coming up this weekend, as well as my tips for round 15. Although my tipping is probably not going that good in 2017. I'm sure I'm not the only one. It has been a very hard year of tipping, it's fair to say that. Let's get to the round 15 opener on Friday night. We're back to Friday night openers now after those Thursday night games from round 10 to round 14. But on Friday night, June 30th, 7:50pm, it is a big game between Melbourne and the Sydney Swans. This game at the MCG, you can see it on 7 and Fox Footy. This is only the second Friday night game at the MCG in 2017. The first since that round 1 Friday night game at the MCG against the Dogs and Collingwood. How remarkable is that? I know that it's good for Friday night games to be elsewhere, but geez, just the one game only this year at the MCG on Friday nights, and there's only one more after this one, so there's only 3 excluding round 23, so that's really remarkable in my point of view. But anyway, I'm just a guy who loves the MCG and thinks the MCG is the home of footy. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Saturday kicks off with the Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles. This is the second time these two teams will meet in 2017, 1:45pm. Of course, at Etihad Stadium. You can watch it all on Fox Footy. The 2:10pm game on Saturday, the 1st of July, is Carlton v the Adelaide Crows. That game at the MCG, and you can see it on Fox Sports 3. This is the second of 3 appearances at the MCG for the Adelaide Crows. You then have the Saturday twilight game, the Gold Coast Suns and North Melbourne at Metricon Stadium. That game you can see on Fox Footy. Looking forward to that game, 4:35pm. Should be a very close game, I'd be expecting. Then 2 Saturday night games. The first one at 7:25pm, GWS v Geelong at Spotless Stadium. You can watch it on 7 and Fox Footy. Should be a ripper. I am tipping the Giants though. And the 7:40pm Eastern game is Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval. We can watch that one on Fox Sports 3. 3 Sunday games to talk about. The early one is at 1:10pm, Essendon v Brisbane Lions, who were actually last year playing off in this same fixture, playing off for pick 1. I remember I was at that game, this game at Etihad Stadium. You can watch it on Fox Footy. The mid-Sunday afternoon game at 3:20pm, Hawthorn v Collingwood at the MCG. You can watch it on 7 and Fox Sports 3. And then the twilight game is at Domain Stadium in Perth between Fremantle and St Kilda, 4:40pm Eastern, 2:40pm local time. That game starts. You can watch it on Fox Footy. My tips, I'm tipping Melbourne to defeat the Sydney Swans, Western Bulldogs to defeat the West Coast Eagles, Carlton to be defeated by the Adelaide Crows, the Gold Coast Suns to win against North Melbourne, GWS to beat Geelong, Port Adelaide to beat Richmond. They should be far too strong there at their home ground of Adelaide Oval. Essendon to beat Brisbane Lions. Hawthorn to beat Collingwood. I don't think Collingwood will beat Hawthorn second time around. I think Hawthorn will get the wood back over them. And then I've actually tipped St Kilda. It will be a tough task to go over to Domain Stadium and beat Fremantle, who seem to be playing some really good footy last round against Geelong, although they did lose the game. But I think St Kilda will be a little bit too strong against Fremantle. So that is my tips, and also the round 15 matches. Really looking forward to round 15. Some great games coming up. And thank you very much everyone for watching Bev's Footy Show for after round 14. Of course, don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Subscribe to keep up to date with an episode of this show each and every week. And of course, I do some other content on this channel as well, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned to that. Also, go check out my Facebook live stream at facebook.com/thebevshow. We're live streaming every Sunday night at 8:30pm, talking lots of sport, taking comments, Snapchats, and all of that. So go check it out, facebook.com/thebevshow. Go check that. I really appreciate that. Once again, 8:30pm live streaming every Sunday night. So once again, thank you very much everyone for watching, and until next week, enjoy round 15. Bye for now.